Elden Ring is one of the most popular games on the planet. To give you guys some context, it sold over 13 million copies in the first month and now sits at 45 million copies sold. That's more than like 300,000 times the number of subscribers I have on this channel, and that's a free button I want you all to click right now. Anyway, despite being one of the most popular games to come out within the last 10 years, only 37% of players have beaten the game. So I decided to test out how tough is the game by trying to beat it without dying once. If I die, the game resets. Whole new character, whole new journey, whole new beginning. This is Elden Ring Deathless Challenge. We start off selecting the hero class because that was the one that I played with in my first playthrough. I think now is a good time to tell you that I'm not a god gamer. I barely defeated the final boss using the most OP build I could find. But I will say that I did defeat both Radans before they got nerfed. Now, our first hurdle came with the Grafted Scion. You see, I would just reset hundreds of times if it meant that killing it would mean I can go through without dying. But if you kill it, you die. If you jump off, you die. At this point, I thought I can just jump off and this death won't count as it's a mandatory death. However, with the power of YouTube, I searched how other people did it and found out that if you let the Scion kill you, you don't actually die. You survive on 1 HP and so the run is safe. But from this point on, there are no second chances. I went on to the open world and immediately saw my first victim. Or rather, it saw me. I tried it a couple more times, which all resulted in me resetting and making a new character. So I thought, this guy is a worthy rival and I shall return to him later after my training arc. Spoiler, I never returned. I then went on to get my horsey. Also met my maiden who totally won't just die on us, and then started wondering what the hell should I do. I devised a plan. After dying a lot, I changed my character to samurai, which everyone seems to use in these runs. Then I wrote down 3 things I needed to do. First is get a good weapon, then good armor, and while doing all that, gather as much money as I can to get my health as high as possible. And so I set off on my journey. At first, I settled on using Bloodhound's Fang as my weapon. It's great for dex users and Samurai class already has a great dex to start with. It also has, in my opinion, one of the coolest Ashes of War. It's also really easy to get. Well, maybe not that easy. However, after a few tries, I got pretty good at the fight, but I found out that it was pretty bad at killing enemies. Like when I watched some of the runs people did, they had like some crazy numbers popping up when they hit the enemies, while mine barely got yellow damage. And I know the bosses that I will be facing later on, they would absolutely annihilate me. I also died with it a lot, like a lot. I even died to rats, which was freaking embarrassing, and I was really depressed at this point. And freaking YouTube kept recommending me this guy, Gino Machino, who is like some Egyptian god sent to Earth to rule Elden Ring or some shit. Hell, he even did a no-hit run on 7 different Souls games. 7! And not Deathless. He did no hit. I thought of quitting the challenge altogether. I did quit. After about 20 or so runs, without even getting into the capital, I just quit. I went away thinking challenges are not for me. I suck. So for about 2 weeks, I played Valorant with friends in Gold Elo and TFT. That's it. Then, one day I thought, why not give this challenge a few more tries? But this time, I will be watching some of the other runs and how they do it. How do they get started? Because that's the biggest thing I was struggling with. I watched these few videos. They all start by chasing the Night Scav on the Dragon Barrow Bridge. And then this video also did the big dragon outside Fort Farad, earning them huge amounts of money right at the start. And lastly, the weapon this guy used, the balls, it impressed me a lot. It just staggered enemies like it was nothing. At one point, I also shifted to the Great Stars for staggers, but it was slower than the balls and did almost the same stagger damage. With all of that knowledge, I tried routing it. I did die a few times and resetting after those tries did fry my mind. But then this run happened, the run that changed everything. This is how I beat the hardest Elden Ring challenge. So the start is normal. Die to the Scion, stay as far away from that guy as possible, get my horsey, but now everything is changed. As soon as I get my flask, I take this portal which teleports me to Dragon Barrow. From there, I make my way to the Night Scav, and with all the previous runs, I did get pretty good at cheesing him. After that, I get the golden foul foot, which increases the money we get from enemies. Cheesed the shit out of Big Dragon and ate the foot just in time to get the bonus money. This made me have 30 vigor and 20 endurance without killing a single enemy in a one-on-one fight. Next up, get the Dectus medallion and get my weapon. The weapon, as I said, is the balls, which will carry me through the first part of the game. I got the balls from this guy who for some reason is super into balls, as his helmet or whatever is also just a big ball. Anyway, defeating him gives us the weapon of choice. But it's not done yet. We now need to get it upgraded. For that, we need the Spitting Stone bell bearing 1 and 2, which we can get directly. For the 1, we need to kill a boss, which is pretty easy. For 2, we just need to go through this hidden passage. Then we buy the stones and upgrade the weapon to plus 12. Now you see why it's so demoralizing. Every time I mess up anywhere, I had to do everything all over again, and this setup takes like 30 to 40 minutes. I hated it, but the result was too good to not to do it. Just look at this fight with Margit.
Thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins. Tarnished.
Yeah, I didn't even see him coming. Even Godric was easy. Also, defeating Godric gives us his Great Rune, activating which gives our character plus 5 in every stat. Oh wait, I forgot about my other setup. What, you thought the setup was done? Hell no, we need to get 2 more things. First is Golden Bow Ash of War. Second is Flame Grant Me Strength. Without these two, the damage is so less. Golden Bow is easy and we can get that in the starting area by defeating this guy on a horse. It's also right beside where we get the Strength Knot tier for our flask. Then we get the Flame Grant Me Strength, which is in Kalit. We also got the Charge Attack tier on the way to Dectus Medallion. Phew, finally, the setup is done. For anyone wondering, the buffs are in no order, but we do the flask, then Golden Bow, then Flame Grant Me Strength. Oh, we also get the Crackblade Ash of War when we are in Kalit. The reason why I talked about Godric's Great Rune is because it gives plus 5 to every stat and Flame Grant Me Strength requires 15 Fate. Fate is a stat which I do not require for anything other than the spell, and so if I can save 5 levels worth of money using the Great Rune, it saves me a lot of pain. So that's why this rune is so important. Okay, so Margit down, Godric down. Now comes the most important question. Who do we go next? To enter the second half of the game, we need 2 rune keepers or shard bearers or whatever, and our only options are Radahn, whom I have died to multiple times before, or Rennala, who I have never seen anyone attempt in these sorts of challenges. I don't really know why. Well, I guess I know why. Just kidding. This boss is probably the easiest boss in the main part. I just suck. Anyway, I made my choice to take on Rennala as my second boss and it went pretty good. Sure, I got hit a few times, but it's not a hitless run. Defeating Ranala gave me the PB run that I so desperately was searching for. I was finally through to the capital, where dreams are made of, just guarded by this guy. What, you thought this run ends here? Hell nah. This guy was easier than Soldier of Godric. He got stun locked into oblivion. Remember when I said my 3-phase plan? I already have my weapon. I have huge sums of money. Now I needed armor. This is where we get the best armor set, which does not require a whole quest to be completed. You can just pick it up from the ground. Unfortunately, the legs makes us too heavy, so we are rocking with 3 of the 4 pieces. Also, do you remember my balls? Well, we now have to say goodbye to them, as we now have even better balls, spiky ones. Not right now, as I am a broke boy and I can't afford to upgrade it fully, so for the next fight they won't make an appearance, but they will become my new weapons. The next few things are also just not that much exciting. I went on to beat Goldfree, who was pretty easy. His moves are super easy to dodge and have a very generous timing window. Timing window? What the f is that? I meant dodge windows. Also, he takes a good amount of damage from my balls. Defeating him gave me enough to upgrade my spiky balls. But before we get to the next main one, we took a little detour to finish my build. Get the Ritual Sword Talisman to boost my damage when at full health. Ritual Shield to boost my defenses when I'm at full health. Great synergy. And then finally we get the Margit Shackle by killing Patches and buying it from the Twin Maiden. I know we can get a shackle from him too if we spare him, but who wouldn't want to get rid of this baldy? After that, we made quick work of Margit, who was not really a challenge. Use the shackle, stagger his ass, and kill his ass. Simple. At this point, my lights went out and I had to pause for a few days because of some work thing. I picked up the game after a few days. We were now in mountaintops where our next main boss would be. We also get the Spinning Stone Bell-bearing tree, letting us upgrade our spiky balls to plus AD. Then I somehow got lost as to which grace to teleport and finally made my way to Fire Giant. I did my buffing ritual at the start, broke his ankle in one shot and got him to phase 2 pretty quickly. What was crazy in this fight was that this freaking guy kept rolling on and on and on, which I don't know if it was because of me hitting that spot, but this dude was constantly rolling. I somehow managed to deal the final blow and finish them off. Of course, my buffs ran out since this was way more than a 3-minute fight. Next was Farum Azula, where the 2 infamous shit bosses reside, but I was having none of that. So to prepare, I first went to Kale, then to this merchant in Saint's Bridge, and then to this weeping merchant. They all had something called the crackpot, and in all my journey, I was collecting Trina's lily and mushroom. Those are the recipes to make the sleeping pot, a throwing item which sleeps the Godskin duo in just one throw. Just look at how easy this makes the fight. This is also something I found in my first playthrough. I had like no health when I entered the arena and knew it was a boss fight. So when I entered, I crouched, hoping and praying no one would spot me. And it worked. So every time I fight in the Godskin arena, I jump from this spot and crouch walk to this grace, which is far superior than the other. The reason why I walked in from here was because they spawn really close to you and you have little to no chance of missing your pots. Okay, just a little more. A few bosses to go. I took the shitty path to the next boss and defeated this guy along the way. Nearly died though. Then came Malekith, or at least his first phase. Yeah, you see, I don't have any amount of practice with this boss, as this is my first time after many months that I've even faced him. I never made it this far in any of my other runs, and genuinely I was getting a hold of him by the end, but at that point I had no heals and no health, and so the run is done. I failed. The thing is, I actually enjoyed this last run. If it wasn't for the tedious hour-long setup, I would still have been at it right now. Since this is not the case, I decided to stop here. For now, I intend to complete this challenge later, maybe in a month or more, but I will complete it this year. Hopefully on stream too if I can get a mic. Regardless, this is how I accidentally almost completed the hardest Elden Ring challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed my pain and suffering and also the fun researching part. If you did, maybe hit the subscribe button so I could bring you more and more challenges, completed ones from now on. Hope to see you guys soon. See ya!